Any other public comment? Jennifer?
Jennifer Gable, 621 Grand Street. I'm here to express my concern about the vacancies that are still on the library board. From what I understand, there's 2 vacancies open. And there are people like myself who have expressed interest and are not being appointed. And I'm just wondering what the criteria is that you have for appointing people to the library board.
It's the mayor's appointment with the advice and consent of council. And as we said before, we don't discuss personnel on the days. So it would be a personnel matter.
Correct, but I'm asking in terms of if there are people interested, like myself, who want to be involved in our community, what is the criteria that you're looking for?
Well, I would say that the consensus of the governing body is that the library has been operating at a deficit for a very long time, and that situation has to somehow be addressed.
Right, and from what I understand, there's been many meetings where there couldn't even meet because there wasn't a quorum, because there was a lack of people on the library board.
No, I think in the last year, there was one meeting in 2018. I think there may have been one meeting last year.
Well, I'm just here to express that my concern is that you have people, you have residents that want to become involved in our community, and you're not encouraging that at this point.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment?
Yes, Lisa Lakaruba, 1805 Springtown Road. Why are you're not allowed to talk about it because it's personnel? You don't get paid, it's a volunteer position, so how is it personnel?
Chris?
Well, I mean, it's an appointment. I think you can talk about the criteria. I don't think you should talk about the candidates, but I think you could talk about the criteria and what qualities or what process. It's an appointment made by the mayor with the advice and consent of council, and you know that.
Okay, so if I may, maybe I would like to hear what council is looking for in candidates that apply for the library board positions. It's volunteer. Are we allowed, Mr. Troxel, to go down and ask what they're looking for?
You can ask, but you can ask, but I don't know if they're going to answer it.
Anyone?
It's the mayor's appointment. We don't have a say. If the mayor doesn't put the candidate forward, we can't vote on it.
And if the mayor doesn't make an appointment, no one on the dais can make a motion or a second to appoint someone.
So
That's come up before when Mayor Hannix was on.
is the public, I mean, what a poor thing for the library.
I don't see how it's a poor thing. The library has been operating just fine. I mean, there was, 2 years ago, there was an effort to try to increase the board from 7 to 9 members. And that failed.
I don't know, fair. It's not 2 years ago, it's now. I think it's only fair. What they explained to me, like I tried to ask you last meeting, is that last part of that sentence, mayor's appointment, okay, we all know that, with the advice and consent of council. No one ever asked me for advice or consent. Did anybody else get asked?
We've discussed this in executive session at budget meetings. Yes, you were asked. Yes, you were asked.
Well, let's discuss it out here. We're
Well,
not talking about anybody, individual person, we're talking about a position.
If we discussed it in executive session at the budget meeting, I don't think it's appropriate to discuss it here and now.
Well, that's your decision, but I think it's certainly, you have people that want to serve. Did you read the resumes that they put down there?
Certainly.
Did anybody else read the resumes? They're almost overqualified. And to say, because it's running a deficit, what the hell does that have to do with running a library board? That's just economical. There's more to the board than just economics.
Well, what I will say is that in the two years and 2 months that I've been mayor, I do not believe there have been any programs that the library has wanted to carry out that they haven't been able to because of any lack of a full board, if we did have a lack of a full board. The library board meets every month, we pay our bills, the programs go on, the library is open the hours that it's open, more than the minimum required by state library law. Every meeting, Mr. Knoll or his predecessor talk about the programs that the library offers to the community.
So how would it hurt to put two qualified people? I don't get it.
I'm not talking about this anymore.
Well, you shouldn't.
Well, I'm not. I'm not. Is there any other public comment?
Yes, Jack Frank,
Mr.
1604 Third Avenue, Alpha.
I saw you hiding back there, Jack.
I never hide from you, Mayor, I'm right in front of you.
All in back row. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm glad you addressed me as sir. I don't understand what you're saying. I understand what these two girls are saying. You have two openings. It seems like everybody up there didn't say they denied them to get on. You're the one that's holding it up. So why don't you give us an explanation why?
There are two of them.
I think there were two. I'm not going to.
Oh,
And
that's what a mayor does in this town.
I don't have to.
When you, and you don't have to.
No.
And that's what a mayor does with this town.
Well, if I'd like to resign from the council and become.
Mr. Troxel, I'm not done yet, Pete. Mr. Troxel, does he have to answer? Or does he have to answer?
No, it's public comment, it's not question and answer, but, you know, it's been practiced that there's been a dialogue here, but no one's required to answer, it's just public comment. I think maybe we should try, what is today, the 27th of March, perhaps, can we get a timeline, like next meeting, can we have 2 appointments by next meeting? Does that sound good?
It's okay with me. If the guy that's gonna do it.
Jen, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to find out, because I heard Mr. Troxel say that you can address what criteria you're looking for, so I was interested in hearing that.
Me too.
Criteria.
Me three.
Me also. Give it up, Mayor.
I am not going to say anything about this matter at this time. And that's it. Is there any other public comment this evening?
Yes, Lisa Lakaruba, 1805 Springtown Road. A couple of weeks ago, I had submitted an Oprah for the audio for a February 12th, I believe, library board meeting. And the audio was sent to me over my phone, and it wasn't a complete audio. It didn't continue until the adjournment. So I'm curious as to where the remainder of the meeting is, and why was it submitted to me on my phone rather than on a CD as I requested? And on what device was the meeting recorded, that it needed to be over my phone, sent to me over my phone rather than on a CD?
Okay,
So multiple questions.
Okay, so Donna, can you address the issue about the CD
Am I addressing
versus?
the dates? Am I addressing?
Excuse me?
Am I addressing? you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, explain to us, that you received this
Yes,
Oprah
I
request
received
and
the
how
Oprah
you
request.
processed it.
And when I got the actual recording, she had asked that it be sent over email. Or no, I'm sorry, part of the request was for email, and then she wanted a CD. But what I did was, because it was a WAV file, I just sent it to her in an email and attached it that way. So it wasn't sent to her phone, it was sent to her email.
Okay. Subsequently, didn't you receive a request to have that file provided on a CD subsequently?
I'm trying to remember if I did there because.
That was the one where the word CD was circled and it had arrows pointing at it, and there were like three
Yes.
different.
Yeah,
So I think the last
That was the
one.
one.
The last item on that Oprah request was that the recording of that meeting be provided on CD.
did I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask you now, did I not send you the CD?
Well, wait, I'm gonna ask how he knew.
I'm gonna ask you, did I send you the CD?
I'm gonna ask how he knew about my Oprah request. How did he know that CD was circled, 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 arrow, arrow, arrow?
Because-
It went to you, Donna Messina, acting clerk. How did he know what my Oprah request said?
Because when I go over the work in the clerk's office, we go over many things, you can tell.
Who's we?
Myself and Helen, and it could be, if anyone of the council people like to say, hey, how's it going, what are you going to work on? I'm working on this or I'm working on that, so things come over, you know.
Donna, can you just
I'm sorry.
I
address
have a question.
address the day?
Yeah,
So,
I-
go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay, in the past, when I got CDs, I had to get special software on my computer to run the CDs. or your applicants asking for a certain format on a CD?
In this case, no. If it would have been a CD that they asked for the minutes from one of these meetings, which are done here, I provide them with a special link so that they can listen to those.
Okay, so anyone who asks for a CD, you provide them with a link so that once they get the CD, they can play it?
Yes, yeah, and I've done that before. But in this case, it was a WAV file. So because it said email too, what I did was I made it easier and I just said, here it is on the email. So we didn't have to provide a CD.
All right,
It just made sense to me to do it that
all
way.
right, so I would just like to answer a few questions and clarify a few things. So the library board secretary, Mike Trent, was doing the minutes for the meetings, and he was recording the meeting on his iPhone. Okay, when the requests came in for the audio, he sent the recordings that he had on his iPhone to me, and I forwarded those immediately to the clerk. So they went from me, I hit forward, and they went directly to the clerk. So whatever was sent to me went directly to the clerk. So whatever you were provided came from the clerk through my email system, or through my email account from Mike Trent, okay? Go ahead.
Why are you getting them? Why are you even involved in them?
Because I'm a library board member, and Mr. Trent, I had said to him that we had this request from the clerk, and he said, well, I'll just send you. We actually went to breakfast on a rainy Friday morning, and he said, as we were sitting at breakfast, well, can I just send them? I said, go ahead, just send them over. So the other thing I would say is that since Donna Messina came to work for the Borough of Alpha, with the deputy clerk out on medical leave, I have spent literally hundreds of hours in the clerk's office helping train Donna and helping her to process the work that comes in. That's an entirely appropriate thing for the mayor or her director to do, or her deputy director to do.
Can I just ask one thing, because I'm a humor computer illiterate, what's a WAV file?
It's just it's a file that,
It's an audio file format,
yeah, it's a format of an
an
audio.
audio file.
If it's a digital recorder, would it go to a WAV automatically?
I think there are several different formats. I think Apple also uses, I mean, you're using the term WAV, I think it may have been a
Or
QuickTime.
quick, yeah, I use that as a blanket.
My question is, you sent me an email with a picture of a Sony digital recorder over top of a dollar bill, which I didn't know the significance of that. I thought it was a bribe. My thing was, you said you recorded the meetings on that. Now you're saying it's on an iPhone?
No,
Sony digital
No.
picture you sent.
no, that recording device was owned by the library board before I was ever on the library board. In fact, I believe that device was in the possession of Councilman Cardone, wasn't it, Louis?
When I was president, and we did not have a secretary at that time, recording.
So it was recorded on the borough? That digital recorder that picture you sent me? I'll have to pull it up.
The meeting that Ms. Lockeruba is referring to, no, it was not. Councilman
You tell me the email, this is what we recorded the meetings on.
All right, let's go through the whole timeline here. So I came on the library board in January of 2016, okay? Councilman Mr. Cardone, not a councilman, was appointed by me with the advice and consent of council, along with Mr. Trent, to the library board. Mr. Cardone was the president. There was no secretary, so he took it upon himself to record and to prepare the minutes for library board meetings. He used, if you allow me to finish, he used the library board's recorder, the one that you saw the picture of.
Sony digital.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. When he left the library board, he gave that recorder to me.
When, your timeline, when was that?
Louis, when did you leave the library board? When you were appointed to council?
November, or was it October 2016?
October of 2016. There were recordings on there that he was supposed to do the minutes from that he never did. So that's why I took it, I said I would do that. In the interim, Mr. Trent decided that he would take on the responsibility of the preparation of minutes. He used his own iPhone to record. The reason he didn't use the library's recorder is because it was in my possession for the preparation of minutes for meetings prior to when Mr. Cardone left the library board.
For a year and a half?
No, it was January 16th, he just said to October, November of 16, it was
Yeah.
7 or 8 months.
All of 17. We had library board meetings, didn't we? All through the year 17?
Whatever Mr. Trent sent to me, I sent to the
It's a
clerk.
simple question. You had a library meeting every month, correct?
Generally,
Pretty
yes.
much? Okay, so
Yes.
let's say, for argument's sake, we only had 10. Maybe we were off for a holiday or something. 10 meetings, 10, 12 are in March now, of 18, and it took that long to make the minutes up. That we're not using that digital recorder like you sent me. I would have never known that had you not sent me a picture of it. That's why I'm questioning, other than what that whole wave file was. My point is, we remember last meeting in public session, I said, why don't we use this recorder? It paid, cost us a lot of money. We'd like to meet into the library board, we'd like to stay in the library, blah, 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 okay. And now, he's still throughout the, I guess Trent's been on all 17?
He's been on since February of 16, I believe.
Well, so it's 2 years then, so 20 meetings, or 24, whatever, minimum 20 meetings, it's all been on a personal iPhone of a citizen.
No, you just,
Well, where have they been?
we just said to you, Councilman Cardone and I just said to you that from February of 16 until November of 16,
Okay.
he was the president, and I believe he was recording them using the library's recorder.
Okay, so after he left at the end of 16, through all of 17, and now the 3 months of first quarter of 18, we haven't used that.
That's
Yes.
correct. Because part of that time, it was in my possession for the preparation of the minutes that Lewis wasn't able to produce
But
before he
It's
left.
over a year.
Well, I don't really think I got the recorder from him when he left the board. Lewis, did I? I don't remember.
It took some time and you did hound me until I got it over to you.
Okay.
It's still a long time. I just, that's not, I'll dig it up here and I'll.
Councilman Pettinelli, have you ever seen the minutes of a library board meeting?
No.
Believe
I'd like
me,
to.
believe me, there's no reason to record them.
Well, it's not that I don't believe it.
I haven't
but
seen 'em either. I'm
I'd
still
like to
waiting for
see-
mine.
I haven't seen our own executive minutes for a year. We're still almost.
Excuse me, sir, wait a minute, time out. You've done this before. If you're gonna discuss the performance of borough employees, you do not, sir, do it. Don't interrupt me, I have the
Don't tell me
floor.
not to interrupt.
Order.
I have the floor.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I'm asking.
You do not discuss the performance of
one's asking about
employees. You
performance.
just did. You do not discuss the
You
performance of
said,
employees on the day.
that I wanna, believe me, you don't wanna see what library board minutes are. And I said, yeah, I'd like to. I said, I'd like to see our own executive board minutes too. We haven't had for over a year. There's no performance on earth. Our regular minutes are a year old.
The implication certainly
Well,
was.
that's in your home
Well,
mind.
well.
That's not the intent.
All right, Mr. Frank, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to the Oprah that you read about Lisa Lockeruba. So you viewed that Oprah?
Excuse me?
You viewed the Oprah that Lisa?
Certainly I did, yes.
You did?
Of course.
And the reason you viewed it was for?
To understand what the workload is in the clerk's office.
So you could understand it, and the
Yes.
Oprah is private between the clerk.
Not,
It is not. Oprah requests are themselves operable. If someone walks, excuse me, sir, if someone walks into the clerk's office tomorrow and says, I would like a copy of every Oprah request that Lisa Lockeruba has submitted to the clerk's office for a certain period of time, those documents will be provided. That's part of the law, sir. You can go to the Government Records Council website and you can read that. Oprah requests themselves are operable. They're public records.
And Helen isn't available to help Donna with what she needs to get through since she worked with Laura Barton?
Helen, I believe, is working 12 hours a week,
A little bit less than that.
between 8 and 12 hours a week.
And she wasn't able to help Donna with what she needed to do. You had to help her.
Not during the time that she was on maternity leave, absolutely not.
I didn't say maternity leave. She's back now. I'm talking about now.
Well, of course she's helping. We're catching up with the minutes. We were at least until a week ago Thursday.
Mayor, it is true that this office.
Yeah.
Of course. Any other public comment?
Mayor, can I
Yes.
comment on this?
Go ahead, no.
As our representative for the library board.
Excuse me, could you guys
It's
speak
not-
up a little bit?
Yeah,
Can you-
it's hard to hear back there.
Really.
Assistant, we're gonna work on it, but.
Okay.
Well, you guys are talking amongst yourselves, you're not talking to the,
Well, that's what we have to address. Everything gets addressed today.
you gotta pull the mics up to you.
Excuse me, sir. Tom, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Since you're our representative to the board, if it's not illegal, should be, but I think it's wrong to have a personal recording device recording minutes for meetings.
I agree.
I think it should be library owned, and you should have a history going back at least 7 years of those recordings.
I don't
And
believe so.
who knows if the phone gets lost, if he gets a new phone, he can't transfer the information. I think we need to address that with the board.
All right, so hold on one second. Donna, you just took this class. Explain what the records retention policy is for audio recordings of public
80
meetings.
days.
Was it
80 days.
80 days?
So,
What?
Just to move on, because we're beating a dead horse, but I think at the library board meeting, whoever goes, I don't know who's on there, why don't you just suggest that they purchase a recorder and they use that?
They have it.
Well,
We sent
okay,
a
well,
picture.
then-
That's my
Well,
whole
use it.
gist of the question. Why don't we use it? He sent it to me, said this is what we use. Now he's saying he doesn't use it. Man.
any other public comment? Mr. Hannix.
Ed Hannix, 1135 July Avenue. You keep referring to me as being on the library board. When the library board had vacancies, I tried to keep it full. Just to keep the record straight here, I never turned down, that I know of, turned down anybody.
Like, you turned me down, but
Well, that could be a personal problem.
maybe.
There you go.
Any other public comment?
Yes, Mr. Troxel, why just now did you say, when we were expressing concerns about trying to benefit the library with, volunteers who want to join, why would you consider that beating a dead horse?
That's not what I was referring to.
What did you-
I was
what were you
referring- I'm sorry.
referencing?
Well, I was referring to the comments about the recorder, that's all.
Oh,
Not about volunteers and people, but.
okay, because our
Fair
concerns
question,
are
but-
valid concerns.
I didn't say they weren't.
No, I'm just
I'm talking about-
reiterating.
We just spent 10 minutes talking about a recorder. That's
Okay.
all.
And if I may continue, I don't understand why Mayor Dunwell has to say that he was in there because he wanted to see, I forget exactly his exact words were about the work that she does, but he already said he knows what hard work she does, because when he and Councilman Schwar were involved in a conversation about Donna Messina a couple months ago, they talked about what hard work she does. So they already recognize the hard work that she does, or how much work